Everyone, welcome to Datu's Corner on this wonderful Memorial Day. I hope everyone enjoyed their Memorial Day weekend for those of us who are in the States and everyone else who's just out there. I hope you had a nice sunny weekend like we did. Um, been doing a lot of lawn work, yard work, and my hay fever's kicking up. So if I sound a little congested, before we get in today's show, which is going to be a short one, just a real quick show today, really big shoe, no, really small show. I just got back from Brazil last week. I want to thank Professor Talis. We'll be talking more about this on FMA Talk. Had a blast. Talis brought Craig and myself down for a week-long instructor development course that he wanted to go through. And then while we were there, we did a couple seminars, and we'll be talking all about that. Hey, Eric, I guess you're not in the gym on Memorial Day. Well, neither was I. But let's get into today's show. So what is this Datu's apology thing explanation? And there was a little debacle. Part of it's my fault. I'm going to take blame for this, but not what people think it is. So, for those who didn't know, PG, Craig, and myself went down to Rio de Janeiro, as well as Sao Paulo, Brazil, and taught that instructor course. Had a great time. And the day I left, I posted some upcoming shows, and I took a shortcut, and that shortcut caused some problems. So I want to talk about that. And I want to take responsibility for what went on. So first, for part of this, and then there's other stuff that, well, I'm not taking responsibility for. We're going to talk about. So first of all, I've got a couple shows coming up, and one of which is next week. Will be that's not what I'm looking for. There it is. Next week's show was the IMAF. International Modern Race Federation. Was it a organization, more of a personal brand, while Professor was living here in the States? So I'm not going to talk about what it was in the Philippines. I'm not going to talk about what happened after. Okay, this is when he was alive. Was it more of a personal brand, or was it more of an organization? And we'll talk about the things that happened during that time. The other thing I posted was this: who should be allowed to make Modern Race black belt or Modern Race promotions? So specifically, now we're going to get more into this. We're going to get a lot more into this during the show. I don't want to make too many comments before the show, because why bother having the show? So this caused some problems, and I'm going to take responsibility. So for those who don't know, I use Canva as a online Photoshop, for lack of a better term. For those who don't know what Canva is, they have a lot of templates. This is one of the templates on there that they had. What I did was I put my black belt in here with a no logo. Okay, so this is, let me take this off here. So we'll take the branding off here for now. Boom. Okay, so it's on there. So this is, minus the no logo and my belt being in there. That's more or less what's there. I edited the content and stuff like that. Now, unfortunately, I did this the day I was leaving for Brazil. And I took a shortcut, and that shortcut caused problems. So because it was this 10th degree black belt, everyone thought I was talking about 10th degree black belts that came from the Philippines. So everybody got twisted. And while I was in Brazil, Kelly Warden made a post. I responded to Kelly publicly, and a lot of people jumped on it. And we're going to talk about that second half in a moment. Personally, first of all, this is to cause excitement. These post announcements are clickbaity. I'll be the first to admit. They're to get people to tune into the show. This show has not aired. As you see, the show says right there, it's going to be June 12th. But my problem, the mistake I made is I took the shortcut and I used what was in there. So now everyone thinks I'm talking about the 10th degree promotions. So since then, wrong direction. Since then, I have put a regular Modern Race black belt in there, and I've changed it where I could find it. Now, I will say have been a few spots that have just recently popped up. This is what I should have posted up there, and I've made these comments during the show, FMA talk about people doing making promotions that make no sense to me, and we're going to get into why they make no sense to me, and we're going to talk about some solutions or potential suggestions to make things. The big thing for me is if we're not going. My issue is, and I'll talk about this right now, is one thing here. The issue I have is if you don't have students, there's no need to be promoted. If you're not producing students, there's no need for you to be promoted. And these promotions, as of late, have been done by some of the recipients of these promotions. Now, I'm not going. One of the things that came up during that was that was I questioning Roberto Precis' ability to promote people to Grandmaster, and the answer to that is no. How can I question his ability to promote people, if I didn't question Ernesto's ability to promote people? And in 2007, Grandmaster Ernesto, great Grandmaster Ernesto, promoted me to Grandmaster. Matter of fact, I'm the only one of Remy's students he ever promoted to Grandmaster. So that was all the way back in 2007. So I'm not questioning what Grandmaster, what Roberto Precis' ability to promote to, because that's not what I'm saying. And I'll give the two examples that I, we look at two people specifically, two of the recipients, Kelly Warden and Dieter Kanoodle. I've said this many times. I'm not going to back away. Whether I get along with these guys or not, it's unimportant, because facts are facts. Both of these gentlemen check all the boxes on being grandmasters in their respective systems. Simple as that. In their respective systems, they check all the boxes on being grandmaster. On the show, we're going to address the grandmaster thing a little, just a little, because this caused this whole thing. Now, let's talk about the other part of this. The other part was, once there was blood in the water, everybody hopped on this. Now, I'm going to remind everybody, the show is not aired yet. It's a live show. And we encourage everybody to tune in and make comments, because you can see those comments. We share all the comments, ask questions, stuff like that. Matter of fact, if first come, first serve basis, if people want to be part of that show, we'd love to have them on any of our shows. So next week's show was the IMAF, Remy Precis' organization, in the States while he was alive, an organization or more of his personal branding. That will be on I'm looking up the date as we speak. That is going to be on June 5th. On June 12th, we're going to say who is the who should be allowed to promote people in Modernities. Well, we got this guy back. Thank you. Brazil was awesome. So the 5th was IMAF, a personal brand while Professor was alive, or an actual organization. The 12th is going to be who should be allowed to promote in Modernities. And the 19th is what is it actually meant, the art within your art. These are the next 3 shows. We're going to be talking about all this stuff. If anybody wants to be part of these shows, let me know. I'm more than happy to send an invitation. It's limited. We don't want to have a lot of people on the show. We could have multiple people, someone chime in for a short period and log off, and another person come in. But by all means, one of the things we get to see is we have on this, we have on the you can't see it on the sidebar here. I get all the comments. I pull them up there. They're also shown on YouTube and what's the other one? Oh yeah, Facebook. So we'd love to have people part of the show, but once again, the show is not aired. The title is a little controversial. Get people talking about things, and lo and behold, a bunch of people hopped in when there was blood in the water and was all over me. And even after I posted my quick explanation, it kept going. Now, first of all, here's what I'm going to say. Adolescent bullshit. the sad thing here is like I wasn't going to engage because I was doing a job in Brazil spreading Remy's art, like we all should be doing if we were one of his students. The other thing I'm going to say is some of these people have blocked me, so I'm not supposed to be able to see their comments, but people send me screenshots and I can't respond to them. So pretty cowardly to talk about me, yet not allow me the opportunity to respond. Um, we've asked people time and time again to be on the show. Um, and people have declined. We know who didn't decline. We know Renee Tungsten's been on the show. We know Kelly Warden's been on the show. We know that there's been a whole bunch of Lauren Therian, Rich Parsons, Glenn Kwan, Frank Shakowski, and others have been on the show. And we've had dialogues, not monologues, dialogues. This is why I brought Ty on today. It's more of a monologue because it's me talking. But if someone chimes in on the side, I'm more than happy to pull them into the show. But I brought Ty onto the show to make FMA talk more of an interactive thing and having people talk back and forth versus me just going off and making comments. So, you know, we've been asked to be part of FMA discussion. Dean Franco has invited people on board. And on more than one occasion, people have just chose that they don't want to be part of a show that involves me. Now, they don't have to like me or anything, and I didn't like them. And I, with the criteria talking about the future of the art, I would have sat down with anybody. Hey, good to be home. I can't see who it is, so please tell me who this is. It's on one of the Facebook things. I don't know. I'm all over the place on that. But everybody, I got all these people hopping on, making all these comments. Now, first and foremost, for those who went running to people who, people started defending. Oh, Darren, great, Darren. People started popping on and defending their people. Make sure you know what you're talking about. I'm fairly nice guy, believe it or not. I grew up in New York, Buffalo, New York. We're a harder town. Okay, we're a harder state. We say what we mean. We have very little filter. I'm a Gen X person, which once again, we don't have much of a filter. We didn't do internet fighting. We got into real fights. We were older than Google. There's a whole bunch of things going on here. I grew up with a law enforcement and veteran father. And today's the day I think about him. And I had a bipolar steelworker stepfather. I worked in the automotive industry for part of my life, which mechanics are some of the most colorful language out there. And we don't bullshit around because we need to know facts, because automotive is about knowing what's going on. It's not about personalities and all that other stuff. So my communication style is very direct because a lot of times I'm trying to cut through the minutia of things. I remember we had Frank on the show and we talked about it on the air and then in person on another occasion, that I asked direct questions and he thought I was interrogating him. And well, really, at the end of the day, what's an interview? It's a nice interrogation, isn't it? You're still trying to get to the point. But the thing here is I try to get specific answers. So a lot of times I ask specific questions and I just hit you right between the eyes. Hey, tell me about this, this, and this. Hey, Steve, thanks. Good to be back. Good to be back. Cool thing is, they want us back for multiple things. Unfortunately, I might have to deal with stuff with they don't have this in place at the moment. We don't need a travel visa, but maybe starting in October, we might have to have travel visas. I don't know. I don't know who that is. So hello. Thank you. Thank you. So, for those who want running to people's aid, and you talk about how people, listen, none of us are holier than thou. We all have our issues. And generally, I don't strike first. I respond. And if I talk about somebody negatively, it's usually because they've wronged me or they're doing something stupid. So I want everyone to come to the shows, listen to what we're saying. And listen, as I tell everybody, always vet the information. Always vet it. Don't trust me 100% when I say something. What you should do is check the facts. Once in a while, I might get something wrong, and that's fine because I'm a human most of the time. So I don't know, maybe I'm not human. But I go based on the information that I have. And if I have wrong information, just the facts, ma'am. if I have the wrong information, as much as I don't like being right, I don't mind, or I might not like being wrong, but I have no problem on being corrected. If I've got good information, and I'll go back to the first time I discovered Dean Franco's show. Brian Zelensky talked about camps. Um, he talked about the Mississippi, not the Mississippi. He talked about West Virginia camp or Virginia camp. I got this down so I don't have to memorize it. But the first modernist camp, he said, I had the state wrong. It's either Virginia or West Virginia. And he had the right state, but he had the wrong year. He also had multiple years, which was wrong. It was only a one-off camp. Then it moved up to the Metro Philadelphia area. But that was a good learning information. I looked at that and said, all right, I knew it was 1983 because that was the year I graduated high school. Okay. So it was good that I listened to these things because once in a while, my memory needs to be jogged. Maybe I have information wrong from somebody else because, as I tell everybody, we're not there. We weren't with Professor all the time. That's why we need to work together. I mean, I've saw him quite a bit. Okay. And every time I saw him, I learned something new, which makes me wonder how much I missed. I was seeing him on average 12 times a year, and he always showed me something new every time. Even so, hell, I remember some of the weekends I was with him on 2 different seminars. I remember driving down to Michael Bates. We got in a car. He's in Philly. We got in a car, drive down to Carl Minkle's, which was Mount Airy, Maryland. Did the seminar there. Went back to Philly. Drove to Vineland, New Jersey the next morning to see him over there at the Lanzas. 2 seminars back to back. I still picked up things, which makes me wonder what I missed. Which means none of us have all the information. Okay, that's why we all need to team together and do stuff this way. Now, so when I have this stuff, going back to I don't want to digress too long much because that's what I do. I go off the rails, But before we go off on stuff like this, we need to make sure that we have our facts straight, and if not, be open to correction. Now, with this upcoming show, specifically, it's the Belt Show. I'm going to take responsibility for having the wrong graphic up there. Once again, people could have directly reached out to me. No one did. Then they decided to post it on the internet. They didn't even respond to what I'm saying where it was. They just put, Kelly made this post, tagged me in it. I responded, and it kept going and going and going and going and going. And became a love letter to Tim Hartman. Once again, a bunch of people made comments. I'm blocked. So people sent me screenshots. Pretty ballsy to someone to speak about someone when they can't defend themselves. And as far as people who are morally superior that you were defending, maybe you should find the facts. I'm an easy person to get a hold of. If you want to reach out to me, datutim@gmail.com. My phone number is 716-432-0600. I'm more than happy to talk to people about my interpretation of things that went down or things that happened to me by other modernist practitioners, but I'm not going to use this venue to throw a lot of hate at other people like that. Now, the thing here is this. During the shows, okay, so for years, people decide to hold me accountable to everything I say. I make a comment, I have to specifically point out what I meant, defend it. I keep hearing about these phantom videos. We did modernist videos with the forums. It's been documented in the Camp Chronicles. All the would-be masters of Tappy Tappy, except for Brian Zelensky, were there when it went down. Everyone knew about the filming, yet I have people like Dan Anderson who constantly talk about, well, where are these phantom videos? How many times do I got to point this out? So I'm used to people coming at me. Okay? Used to people coming at me. That being said, if you're going to go after people, you got to be ready for when they come back at you. You poke the bear's going to poke back. When you make claims, people are going to ask you to verify them, which I've done for years. But it's not Tim's the only one that has to do this. If you make a claim or an action like that, you got to be held accountable for your actions. What I learned, here we go, Tom, What I learned from many teachers saw different abilities in others. So some may get one than what you may get. Okay. My dyslexia is kicking in. What I've learned, what I learned, many teachers saw different abilities in others. Okay. So some may get one then and what you may get. All right. They can do or had problems with. So that is just what I have seen many teachers or ways. Okay. All right. So now what I just wanted to, yeah, okay. So I'm good with that. I'm looking at something else at the same time. So I'm pretty much done with what's going on. I wanted to explain and take responsibility for me taking a shortcut. I should have had the other belt thing up. I should have went and taken the extra couple minutes and got the Modern belt off of the where I got it from and put it up there. Instead, it gave the impression that I was making comments about the 10th degree black belts. I am going to comment on the show about who should be able to promote only because we're going to clarify this because maybe not everyone's listening to this right now. But I'm going to take my responsibility of I did a shortcut the day I was leaving. I should have had this stuff days in advance. I knew what the shows were going to be. But between packing the camp and me just dilly-dallying along procrastinating, I ended up doing it a sloppy, I shortcut it. And that's on me. And I have no problem with when Kelly wrote his letter towards me, I clarified. He made his point. I responded to him while I was in Brazil. It ended. I messaged him afterwards um, when I got back in the States. It's been dealt with. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say we're good, bad, or different. It's been dealt with. Why the most hated person in FMA? Probably because hmm, you have to ask other people. I think it's because I don't kiss people's ass, and I'm more than happy to talk about the truth. Here's the thing. Um, my position is this: I will not do things to compromise my integrity. Whatever you guys think my integrity is or lack thereof, if that's what you think, it's up to you. I know what my beliefs are. I remember when Roland Dantes reached out to me and said that Remy wanted me to help the family, and I said I would, but I'm not going to lie for anybody. I'm going to tell it the way it is, and whether that benefits them or not, they got to deal with it. And Roland was okay with that, and then he had talked with Remy, and they were all okay with it. Everyone, I have my own opinion on things, and I, like I said, I have my own my ethical beliefs, and I'm not going to back down from it. Plus, I don't know if I'm the most hated person in FMA. I know some other people that have really riled up some people, but I'm definitely probably the most controversial, or one of the most controversial. Um, but if anyone was to look into it, you'd probably realize that it's more because I'm very passionate what I do, and I get a little wound up when we talk about certain things. All right, handled it like a gentleman. Well done, Datu. Yeah, I thought the post was respectful, and I could have easily gone down that rabbit hole. Um, I didn't want to. Um, and you know, just Craig and I said, "Where are we now?" Brazil. That's it. While everyone's whining, crying, complaining, I'm in Brazil. Okay. Um, I think Kelly and I are pretty decent right now with things, with understanding what was going on, and when people listen to the show, then you can be upset at me. I haven't said anything yet, you know. Um, let me say what I need to say, and then you can. But I think I think here's the problem. I don't pull punches, and I have no problems. You know, well, I have no problems calling bullshit on things. And just because I have a podcast, we talk about things. I mean, hell, Kelly Ward and I said basically the same thing. He was a little more abrupt, but we talked about the Praces Polo with Bram Frank. I thought it was bullshit. Kelly thought it was bullshit. Okay, I mean, my thing is I went from a very logical point. Didn't want to go visceral. My comment was real simple. Remy fled the Philippines for his life. I doubt he picked up a family bolo if people were hunting him down to kill him. Of all things to take, I doubt that would be something they would take. And I think going down that road, it was just like, yeah, this is the bolo that my family is like. This is the model. That was it. But you know, so I'm not the only one that makes these comments. It's just that I think the other thing here is because of my level of success, people are also extra critical of the things that I say. But listen, you know what? I don't need to trash talk people to elevate myself. Okay. You look at what I do, my body of work speaks for itself. Okay. Brazil made it my 18th country. I've taught in 28 states plus the District of Columbia. If you compare that for the Europeans, that might as well be 28 countries when you look on how that goes. 18 countries total on that. First time reviewer. Rather be okay. I'd rather be okay and why it's the only way to be. Not sure if I'm reading that right because of my dyslexia. But anyways, yeah, hey Don, next week we're gonna have some shows. Actually check it out on YouTube. We have two channels with us. The only problem is sometimes with Ty and I have a tendency of going down the rabbit hole a few times. um, but yeah, so anyways, I can keep talking about this. Oh, first time viewer. Rather be black and white, and that's what you know what, and that's it. Yes. I'm a black and white kind of guy. I make the comments, and there's some grays. Don't get me wrong. I mean, listen, and but I try to. I've seen so much nonsense, and I call it on it. And the thing here is this: when it comes to Remy's art, I want to understand this. I want to talk about it more in the show. Um, I was 19, turning 20 when I started Modern Ernie's. Within the first 6 months, I went to the Mississippi summer camp and got graded as an instructor, apprentice instructor, not a full-fledged instructor. And so basically, I've been teaching. I've been a certified instructor and been teaching since 1986. Um, I I have been when I see this has been I have sacrificed the quality of my life for this art. When I hear people say they made sacrifices, they still had careers and this, that, and the other thing. I made a choice. I did martial arts, and because of that, I didn't get married and I didn't have children because I'm not going to be the irresponsible dad that brings in a child into this world that can't support it. Now I could do that. I'm 58. I just turned 58 years old. Prior to this, no, I couldn't. With my lifestyle, I wouldn't be around um, and be able to do it right. I mean, because I can't just. It's not just about bringing in money. You need to be there for the kids. You know, my father was a terrible husband. Okay, my parents got divorced when I was 2 years old, but he was the best dad he could be. And when I was with him, that was it. He was in Syracuse. I was in Buffalo, 2 hours away. Uh, and as a state police officer, he had a crazy schedule. But you know what? Every hour he was around me, he was around me. He was involved. It wasn't just ignore. We did stuff together. So, all right, let me see here. I am a 5-time. People hate me regardless. Yeah, I get you. It's just the way it is. I don't sweat it too many times. The like I said, I could get wound up and say, hey, um, you know, listen, I've got friends. I've got very close friends of the family you choose. And when people talk about all these things, see the thing that annoys me is I got people who know our members. Are you talking about me here? It's only narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. Who's that? Um, so when where was I going? I was going somewhere with this. Um, I go around the world. I do my martial arts. I got my members. And what annoys me though, and when people sit there and they'll make comments, they'll go, "Why are you with Hartman?" They don't ask. Well, actually, they don't do that. What they'll do is they'll say, "Hey, you should leave Hartman." They don't ask why you're with Hartman. You know, hell, one of my board members, Chad Doolin. He went with Jeff Delaney after Remy passed. I never asked. He told me point blank. Remy told me to help Jeff, and I did. And I never questioned that. Chad has always been my friend. He has always been. We've known each other since the early 90s. I don't fault him for that. I made it very clear when things don't work out. Um, you always have a home with me because we're friends, and I respect what your ability and your knowledge and da da da. Da. Well, he's one of the board members of our organization now. You know, um, he goes to other events. He hangs out with Kelly Warden. Kelly Warden, I don't always see eye to eye. That's fine. But neither one of us play the game of you should leave the other because the first person to do that is the first person to lose. And I've been very upfront about that. I don't care who you're friends with because everything's based on your relationship with me. I'd say I got to quit smoking, but I don't smoke. It's the darn hay fever. Um, so I'm going down the rabbit hole. So let's get back to it. So, real quick, next week I gotta bring up the calendar again because I don't have the dates in front of me. That's what happens when I go down the rabbit hole. All right, I need a new laptop. This one's a little slow. Okay, so June 5th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to do a show, FMA Talk live. It'll be PG time myself, and the topic is going to be whether or not the IMAF, the International Monetary Federation, while Remy was alive in the States, or when he moved to the States, was the IMAF actual organization or more of his personal brand? We're talking, all the different options on that. The week after that, May or June 12th, who should be allowed to promote the black belts? And then the 19th, we're going to have a discussion about the art within your art. What was it? We'll do the 26th. And then we're going to have some time off, I think, because it'll be the 4th of July week and I will be in Austria. So that's what's going on. So listen, as always, we want people to tune in. We want people to comment. We'd love to have some people who decide to hop on the show with us. You come on the show, hang out, but that's going to be on a limited basis because it's very hard to manage when you have a whole bunch of people on there with the comments and stuff like that. So that's all I got today. Don't judge me. Okay, so first of all, it's Ty and myself talking about these things. It won't just be me. But before you judge either of us or both of us, let's make sure the show happens first. And all those people that made these comments, bad on you. Especially the ones who've blocked me and don't give me the opportunity to respond. Really, very brave, very very ballsy. I gotta say, you just way to man up there, and they are men when I'm saying this. So I think that's about it. So listen, I'm looking forward to these next 3 shows. I think they're going to be a blast. If anyone wants to be a part of this, by all means, reach out, let me know. We'll see what we can do from there. So enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day for those who are here in the United States. And I have a meeting with some people later tonight. So I have some more projects coming up. A lot of projects coming up, a lot of cool projects coming up. Waiting to announce make some seminar announcements. Hopefully everything's going there. Hey, Rob, I'll see you tomorrow in class, I'm assuming. I am about to log off. So listen, everybody, as always, please stay safe and stay sane. And I will see you next week on FME Talk Live. And if you can't watch it live, make sure you watch the broadcast over on Facebook. Please like this video, hit the notification button, and please feel free and subscribe to the channel and feel free to share this wherever you think is appropriate. And yep, I'll see you tomorrow morning, Rob. All right. And everybody, stay safe and stay sane.